Hi. So today I want to talk about my plans and goals for 2024. And I only have one goal that is not financially focused. And so I have some spending habits that I want to change, and then also some savings goals that I want to meet. And what motivated this is back early November, I went through all of the Amazon purchases that I had made in 2023 and totaled up how much I had spent, and it blew my mind. It was so much more than I ever would have thought it was. Sorry, my cat decided this is the perfect time to start playing. But anyhow, I even texted Michael and I was like, take a guess how much I spent this year just on Amazon. And he sent me a figure, and it was 1/4 of what I actually spent. So it was a lot. And you know how our phones are always listening to us, right? Well, after texting Michael about that, the next time I get on YouTube, I have a suggested video for a no buy year. And so I did watch it. And while I'm not going to do a no buy year because it's very, very restrictive, and I don't feel like that's something that I want or need to take on for myself, I do, however, want to curb my spending habits a lot. And a big part of that is understanding the motivation behind those spending habits. And one thing that the video did say that kind of gave me a perspective shift was that we see anywhere from 6,000 to 10,000 ads per day. And I have since then also heard this figure repeated in multiple different places. So I think there is some truth to it. And I even one morning decided, when I got up and was on Instagram and kind of scrolling through, I was on there for maybe 10 minutes and I was counting ads that I saw. And I saw 15 ads in 10 minutes or less. So, you know, if you continue calculating that throughout the day, and then also consider not only what we're seeing on social media, which is most definitely the primary place where we're getting this stuff, but also just what you see out and about your day. If you're, you know, I work from home, so I don't leave the house, but when you do, you know, you see billboards, you see signage, you'll see, you know, flyers, ads, newspapers, and, you know, there's ads in all of these places. But I think social media is definitely the biggest place where we're getting it. You know, every couple of posts on Instagram, there's an ad. In between stories, there's an ad. You have influencers promoting stuff and sharing links. And then, you know, you get on YouTube and every single video is interrupted by ads. And so it's definitely everywhere that you look. And while I've never really been susceptible to traditional ads and commercials, I just skip over them and ignore them, there is another place where we are being influenced to purchase things, and that is through influencers on social media. And there are a couple of influencers that I follow religiously because their styles match mine, and I really like seeing what they're doing. And, you know, they do have promotional ads and stuff in their videos sometimes, but it's really just their day-to-day life. And not even just influencers, but, you know, people that we know who we follow on our social media accounts, and we see what they're doing. And we're like, oh man, I really like that shirt. I wonder where she got it from. Or wow, that trip looks really fun. Maybe we need to schedule a vacation for there. Or wow, that home decor is awesome. I want to change mine. I want to do something more like that. You know, even when we are not actively being influenced by an influencer, we are still being influenced just by what we see. And, you know, the world of social media, I think, has a lot to play in the just kind of influx of consumerism that we are now seeing. Like, it is far and above worse than it's ever been. And, you know, I like to think that I'm immune to it, but I'm definitely not. And I think part of the reason that I had this misconception about myself is because I am purging things. And so I don't have an accumulation of crap in my house, but it's not because I'm not buying, it's just because I'm not keeping. And that is the big realization that I had to come to about myself. And so, you know, I'm especially bad about projects. I want to change something. I want to build something. I want to, you know, paint or move my garden and reconfigure my garden and buy a bunch of stuff to do this with. And so that's going to be my main goal. And I'm not going to talk a ton about it now because on tomorrow's video, it is all about my house plans for the year and home decor plans and how I'm going to curb my spending on that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to get too deep into it here. But I definitely have a plan to not buy home decor for the year. I have a plan to not buy clothing for the year. There is one exception to that, and it's only because So my fall and winter wardrobe, I'm very happy with it. I've got a lot of sweaters and leggings and pants and boots and shoes and stuff that I'm content with. I've purchased things that are classic and timeless and I can wear year after year after year until they wear out and need replaced. My summer wardrobe, I have yet to do that. I have a hard time finding, I'm really a dress person in the summertime. They're just easy to throw on. They're not hot, they're comfortable. But the problem is I have a hard time finding dresses that I really like where, the style is right, the fit is right. A lot of the dress trends that pop up every year, just I don't like the way they look on me or I don't like the patterns. So I'll buy things that I'm like, oh, well, it'll do. And then at the end of the season, I'm like, yeah, I really don't like it anymore. And it goes. And so I did that and I donated a lot of my wardrobe whenever I was switching out. I do this every time I switch out seasonally where I get rid of things I didn't wear whenever I swap them out. So when I was putting my summer clothes away, I got rid of a lot of stuff. So I know that there are some things that I need to replace because I'm just not going to have enough if I don't. But I have limited myself. So instead of like buying 2 or 3 dresses every month from April through August, I'm allowed to buy 6 dresses in total, and they have to be dresses that I like the fit, I like the pattern, the material, it's classic, it's timeless, where it fits all of those criteria, just like my fall and winter wardrobe, or I don't buy it. And if it means I need to spend a little bit more, like I can't just go find one for $35, $40 on Amazon, I might have to spend $100 on something nicer from somewhere else that's going to last for the long haul, then that's what I will do. But I have a limit of 6, and then I have a criteria of it has to be something that I will keep and wear year after year. It cannot be any more of this, well, I guess it'll do, because I can't find anything I like better. So I'm going to be a lot more strict on myself about what I am buying. And then 1 pair of sandals, because I did get rid of a few pairs of shoes, but in looking through what I had in my closet, there is like one basic, like a good leather sandal is all I really need to replace. Everything else I'm fine without replacing them. So jewelry, I don't really have a jewelry habit. I have what I need for jewelry, so I'm not too concerned about that one. Bags, I have a perfectly solid bag collection. I have like a black, a beige, a couple of little browns. Like one is one that I got from my grandma that's like white and brown, but then I have a brown leather one. So I have just exactly what I need to go through my outfits. I don't need to buy anything else. And bags are another thing where I buy, usually Kate Spade most often is the brand that I find that I like. And I do have one that's Polo Ralph Lauren, but I'll buy those and I'll keep them for years and years and years. So I don't have a handbag problem. I don't have a jewelry problem, but with clothing, especially dresses in the summertime, it's something that I'm constantly cycling through. So it's mainly going to be wardrobe and definitely house, whether it's home decor or just home projects where I want to change something big. Now, the exceptions to my rule are obviously things that need to be done. And again, I'm not going to get really deep into this because I'm going to cover it tomorrow. But when there are like home maintenance and repairs and things like that that you can't avoid, those obviously I'm okay with spending money on. If something breaks or needs to be replaced for whatever reason, if it reaches the end of its useful life, then that's okay. But one thing I've done to ensure that I stay on track is I have kind of adjusted my budget. And I took what I had available for free spending, and I took 1/3 of that and I moved it to savings with a goal in mind, and that goal is to save for a new car. So my son is in the middle of his junior year and he's going to graduate in a year and a half. And right now his dad lives 3.5 hours away from us, and we meet in the middle every other weekend, Friday and Sunday, every other weekend. So 2 weekends a month. That's a lot of miles on a car. And I've had some issues with this vehicle too. I don't want to get into a real long diatribe, but it's very obvious by now that the person who had it before me definitely hit something pretty hard with the front end, because I've had a lot of issues with the front end of this vehicle that I am still making payments on. And so I've put probably $2,700 into repairs already since I purchased it, and I've had it for a couple of years. So when the time comes, I am going to trade that one off on something different. I only ever buy pre-owned, and I will say that this is the only time that I have purchased a pre-owned vehicle where I feel like I've been burned on it. So I'm hoping that luck will be in my favor, that when I trade this one off, I will not run into that problem again. That's always kind of a gamble we take buying pre-owned, but honestly nowadays, even if you buy brand new, which I can't afford to do because I am not going to spend like the amount of my mortgage payment on a vehicle payment. I'm not paying $600 or $700 a month. My limit is $300. This current one is around $310, but I pay $325, so I'm paying extra principal on this vehicle. But when the time comes to trade it in, I also want to have some good savings to where I can also make a good down payment on it to help keep my payment lower, especially since interest rates have gone up so much. They should be starting to fall a little bit this upcoming year, so by the time I'm ready to buy a vehicle, they won't be as bad as they are now. They're definitely at their maximum high. I would not want to buy a vehicle right now for any amount of money. Or at least not one that you have to finance. If you're able to go out and pay for a vehicle in cash, that's great. But vehicles are just overpriced anyway. They should be a maximum of 20% of our income should go to not only your car payment, but also like insurance, maintenance, things like that. And I think if you actually took your yearly income, you calculated 20% of that and you looked at that, like you should not be paying more than that for a vehicle. And vehicle prices have gone up so much that it's almost not even feasible because people will be paying about half what they actually are for a car, maybe even less. It's just crazy. But anyway, that's my long-term savings plan there. So I have that new car savings goal, and then what is left of my free spending budget, I don't want to actually spend. It's there because I may need it. You know, if we go out to meet friends for dinner, or, you know, the kids need something, they're always, you know, asking for money for this, that, and the other thing. If I do have to replace any items that might break, or, you know, home repairs, stuff like that, you know, I need to have that free spending budget there. But the goal is to not use it unless I have to, so that it will continue accruing in my checking account in addition to my other savings. And so I also have my regular savings account, and then I have a trip savings account. And for that one, I've been saving for almost 7 years for my children for high school graduation trips. Logan has decided he doesn't care about a high school graduation trip. He wants to get into motocross and he'd rather have a dirt bike. So we did just take his cash out and buy him a dirt bike here just like last week. And but Hunter, we still have yet to do his high school graduation trip, even though he graduated high school last year, because he loves World War II history, and our goal was to go to Germany. And at the time that I budgeted for this and started saving, plane tickets have doubled since then in the last couple of years. If you travel at all, you understand. And so now the amount that I had allotted for the entire trip would pretty much just cover the plane tickets. There wouldn't be much left over after the plane tickets. So we've kind of waited and put it off and hoped that maybe things would change, and they haven't. Airline prices are just as high as ever. So now we are kind of changing plans and figuring out an alternative. So, you know, instead of flying to Europe, we could go to Canada or Mexico or something, you know, that's close to the United States, where the flights are a lot more affordable, or even something within the United States. But he just has to kind of decide what he wants to do. Anyway, when that is done, I'm going to continue contributing to that savings account for Michael and I. And then we should be able to go to Europe or Thailand or wherever we want to go, because instead of me paying for 3 people, I will be splitting the cost with Michael for 2 people. So it'll be a lot more affordable. So I have those 3 savings accounts. And so I am putting, for the car account, it's getting 5% of my pay. For my regular savings account, it is getting 8%, and then the trip savings account is getting, let's see, what was it? I wrote it down, 3%. So I have a total of 16% going into savings accounts, and then in addition to that, I have a Roth 401k, so that means the taxes are coming out before the money is going into my 401k, so I won't have to pay taxes at the time that I use it when I'm in retirement. So I have 10% going to that. So I am saving a total of 26% of my income. And I feel like that is pretty darn good, because they recommend saving 10, and I'm definitely doing far and above that. So about a quarter of what I actually, not my like total pay, but just my bring home pay, is going to savings. So I feel great about that. My other goal for the year that does not have anything to do with savings is not drinking. And I'm not really a drinker anyway. I only drink occasionally, like when we go out with friends or something. I don't drink at home. I rarely buy alcohol. If I do, it's because there's an event coming up that I want it for, or there's a recipe that I need, you know, a cup of red wine for or something. And that's the only time I really buy any alcohol. But Michael, unfortunately, is a daily drinker. He's not like, you know, a drunk or something, but he has a couple of drinks every day when he comes home, which is what the USDA says is safe. It is not actually safe, and I can talk more about that and go more in depth about that at a later date, because I don't want to make this absurdly long. But Studies have been done about drinking, and the USDA recommends a certain amount, and unfortunately a lot of those studies have been done and funded by the alcohol industry, and they have found that, you know, 1 drink a day for women is safe, 2 drinks a day for men is safe, and you're actually better off having a little bit of alcohol than being a teetotaler. And the reason for this is because when they did those studies, they took people that were very, very sick from alcoholism who had to quit. They had no choice. They were forced into being teetotalers, and they grouped that into the group of people who had never drank alcohol at all. And so they had this 0 spectrum, but it was skewed because they had people that were very sick already from drinking for all of their lives in that group of people. And so that created a J-curve where it looked like people who were teetotalers were actually less healthy than people that drank a little bit. And when they redid these studies and they controlled for that and they pulled those people out and they used only people who had never drank a drop of alcohol in their life, it turned into a straight line. 0 was 0, and it went straight up from there. The amount of alcohol you drink, the worse your health outcomes. And so there is no safe amount of alcohol. And for that reason, even though I'm not much of a drinker anyway, I'm not going to drink this year, with one exception. We do go to the free wine tastings most Tuesdays, but it's like barely even a sip. So, you know, by the time you get done tasting 6 wines, you've had maybe a quarter of a glass total. So I'm okay with doing that once a week, but then Michael and I always buy a bottle and then we share it, but I only ever drink 1 glass and then I'm done, and then he takes the rest home with him. So now he's just going to buy a bottle to take home, basically, because I am not going to drink it. I'll probably just take like some cranberry juice with me and pour it in my wine glass and sip on that and be perfectly content with it. But I want to be the healthiest that I can possibly be, and I realize that even though I only drink a little bit here and there, if I don't drink at all, my plans for longevity will be realized, and if I do continue drinking, it is going to shorten my lifespan. Whether, you know, I'm drinking heavily or not, it doesn't matter. If I drink anything at all, it is going to increase my risk for heart disease, cancer, all of those things. Even if it's just a little bit, you know, there is no such thing as a safe amount of alcohol, is what I've learned. So that is my other goal for the year, but mostly it's financial goals, and I understand that I will have to be very hard on myself. There's going to need to be some resistance to, now with ads it's easy, I can just scroll past them, but it's going to be a matter of seeing things online and watching things that influencers share and resisting that urge to be like, oh man, I really love that, I really want that, and instantly pulling up my phone and scrolling Amazon to see if I can find something similar for my house that I can actually afford, that's within my income and my budget. But that's going to be the tough one for me for this year. But a lot of the reason why I'm sharing it on here is because when I know that I have people watching this, it's not just me justifying it to myself, because I can tell you I've been the queen of justification, and I will, you know, even tell Michael, oh, I'm going to buy this and this is why, and like, he doesn't care what I spend my money on. He never gives me one bit of grief about anything. But I think in the back of my mind, I know I shouldn't be buying it. Speaking of which, why is he calling me? I know that I shouldn't be buying it, and so I'm creating that justification to myself, and I'm just voicing it out loud to whoever I feel like will listen to it, but I know that I shouldn't be buying it, so I've got to break those habits. But that is the plan for 2024, and I'm happy to have you along, and I'm happy to have you keeping me accountable. And tomorrow I'm going to talk about home decor and house stuff, because that is a full topic just in and of itself, so I will see you back here then.